My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Toy Story 3. And this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But this is a movie that everybody loves. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 98% from the critics and a 90% from the audience. On IMDb, it has an 8.3 rating. On Letterboxd, it has a 4.0. On Metacritic, it has a rating of 92. It won Best Animated Picture for 2010, and it was even nominated for Best Picture. And that kind of thing just doesn't happen when it comes to animated movies. So everybody loves it, and rightfully so. This is one of those movies that lives up to the hype, and it's every bit as good as people say. So let's begin by talking about the cast, and Tom Hanks is just truly phenomenal here. He brings this character to life so perfectly, and he brings real emotional depth. But Tim Allen also does a great job, and I like how he gets to play the Buzz Lightyear we know and love, but he also plays a darker version of himself, and he's able to capture the duality of this character so well. And Javier Fernandez Pina voices Spanish Buzz, and he also does a really good job. Joan Cusack as Jessie is so entertaining, but she also just brings so much emotion to this character as well. Don Rickles and Wallace Shawn and Estella Harris are all very funny and bring lots of personality to their characters here. Ned Beatty is such an unconventional choice to voice the villain, but he is fantastic. Because at first, he just seems like a nice guy. He seems like a real lovable dude. But then you find out just how evil and twisted he is, and he captures the duality of this character so perfectly. And I do love how they gave Lotso a really rich backstory where you understand him, but you still hate him. Blake Clark replaced Jim Varney as Slinky, but if I'm being honest, I didn't even notice. He brings this character to life so perfectly. Jodie Benson is very entertaining as Bobby, and Michael Keaton as Ken is just brilliant casting. Like, they understand that Ken should be funny, and Michael Keaton just fully delivered. John Morris does a really good job as Andy. I like how sentimental his performance is. And then you've also got like Timothy Dalton, Bonnie Hunt, Jeff Garlin, Whoopi Goldberg. Um, and they all do a really good job as well. Every character stands out in this movie, and the cast is just 10 out of 10. But the storytelling is so fucking brilliant. It really is. Because this is a movie that continues the themes of the franchise of growing up and the inevitability of change and mortality. But it's also about letting go and moving on to the next chapter. And it explores all these thoughtful themes in a very entertaining prison break movie. And just it's a movie that just does everything to perfection. I love how dark this movie is willing to go at points. Like, I was actually thinking about it after I was done watching it. But is this the darkest Pixar movie? Because I think it is. Like, you've got Buzz pretty much turning bad against his will. You've got these characters who are locked up, and they think that their best friend Woody is dead. The monkey is pretty freaky, and then you've got the entire scene at the dump. Like, this movie goes for it, and I love that it's not it doesn't hold back, and it's willing to have a bit of an edge, and it really does elevate this movie. I also just think this is a movie filled with emotion from beginning to end. The movie has this montage early on of Andy playing with his toys growing up, set to "You've got a friend in me." And man, just it makes you feel so nostalgic and it makes you think of your own childhood. And then it cuts to present day and the toys just aren't being played with. They're left behind. And you find out that most of the other toys are just gone. Friends, gone. In some ways, it's a reflective movie also about grief, about how you lose people in your life. And I feel like it captures these ideas. Well, there's emotion throughout the entire movie, but in that scene at the garbage dump, it breaks me. The characters are constantly running away from all of this danger, and then they're in a position where there's nothing left to do. There's nowhere else to go. And they're faced with their demise. And what do? They all hold hands and face it together. I think it is actually one of the most heartbreaking scenes in movie history, and it just gets me every single time. And it's in a freaking kids movie. Like, I hate when people disrespect animation, because you watch a movie like this and it is so mature and so thoughtful. And then we get the ending. And I will say, like, Andy playing with his toys again, like he goes to a stranger's house and starts playing with their kid. You can look at it from a very judgmental point of view, but I just think this scene is so beautiful. Of Andy looking back on his toys one last time and what they meant to him. And throughout the entire movie, they think the idea of Andy playing with them is just never going to happen. And then they get this one last perfect moment as Andy drives away and he's just like, "Thanks, guys." And Woody's just like, "So long, partner." They had great times together, great memories that will last forever, but this is just how it is. And man, this movie just freaking, it's so good. It really is. And I also love just how weird and funny this movie can be. I love the opening scene where you've got Jesse and Woody trying to stop this train full of orphans, and then you've got this force shield dog, and there's a force shield eating dinosaur, and then evil Dr. Porkchop. And I like how it also ties into some of Andy's playtimes in the previous movies. I think everything with Bobby and Ken is hilarious, and I love how Bobby tortures Ken by whipping up his outfits. Spanish Buzz, like I said, is very funny. I like when Mr. Potato Head is a tortilla. There's lots of funny, clever moments throughout this movie. And one reason why I think this movie really, really resonated with people back in 2010 is Toy Story came out in 1995, Toy Story 2 came out in 1999, and Toy Story 3 came out 2010. So for those who were kids when they first saw Andy, by 2010 they were leaving home and going off to college. And I just feel like I know when I saw this movie in 2010 with my mom, my oldest brother was at that point in his life, and it really struck a chord with my mom. So, I know, there's just something about growing up with these characters, and it just resonates very deeply. I also think the animation in this movie is fantastic. It looks beautiful throughout, and there's just lots of attention to detail. And I like how Sunnyside at first has this really pleasant vibe, but then they find a way to make it feel darker throughout. And I love how, like, some of the characters hang out in the vending machine, and they've got a library of instruction manuals that they use to control other toys. Like, there's lots of great world building here, and I also really find it satisfying whenever the toys do something great, like when Woody sneaks back into Sunnyside and he sneaks through the roof tiles, or when he escaped through the bathroom window, or when Buzz climbs out the window. That kind of animation is so dynamic, and it really just brings these movies to life. And the score by Randy Newman is some of his finest work. Like, yeah, you've got a friend in me, but you also got We Belong Together, which is a very nice song. And but the music, like when what's his name, Chuckles, oh my goodness, this is going to bug me actually. What's the name of the clown dude? Chuckles. Yeah, okay, it is Chuckles. And by the way, Bud Lucky did a very good job when he was telling his part of the story. The music there just has this Western tragic vibe to it, and I love the music for the final 5 minutes of the movie. Like, it just brings so much emotion to the forefront so incredibly well. And yeah, this is just a movie I truly, truly love. Like, the character, and I also love how Woody is okay with his toys facing the attic, but then, like, he faces his potential death, and he realizes that they deserve a life of being played with again. And I like how so much of the movie, like, it's an honorable quality of how loyal Woody is to Andy. But in the end, he still lets him go. And I love how so much of this movie is about how these toys have each other and they need to stick together. And by the way, I love Toy Story 4. I'll talk about that movie next week, but I love that one as well. But I really do love just so much. And I also love how at first it's a joke that Mrs. Potato Head uses her eye, but then it becomes an important plot detail where they realize Woody was right. And yeah, man, this movie's just so good. And I also love how it kind of reminds me of Toy Story 1, where nobody believed Woody that Buzz was alive, and nobody believes him here. Like, it shows you how the characters have changed, but sometimes they also kind of stay the same. So, anyways, I love this movie. It is the best Prison Break movie ever. It is an incredible, entertaining story with real thematic depths, real emotional depth that you feel from beginning to end. I love how weird and funny this movie is. I love how dark it's willing to go, and every character is brought to life perfectly. The cast is truly phenomenal, and it's not just... I know I said Toy Story 2 is my favorite of the franchise, and it's my favorite Pixar movie, but... And I still stand by that, but this one's like... It's neck and neck. Like, it is so great. It's not just one of the best Pixar movies. It's not just one of the best animated movies ever. It's one of the best movies ever. So I'm giving Toy Story 3 a 9 out of 10. Just truly pitch perfect. But Toy Story 3, have you seen it? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin out.